Acha, okay. So, PEDro, which is the abbreviation of that physiotherapy evidence database, there's a specific database which is specifically utilized and specifically having some systematic reviews, clinical practice guideline, and as well as randomized control trial that are specifically related to the physical therapy. We have discussed in detail in that previous practical session and how to search on PEDro, in which we discussed three types of searches on the PEDro, that how we can search on the simple search, then the advanced search, and a consumer search. So we have a detailed session on that. Here we will just summarize those points which were discussed practically in the previous session. So basically, as on the website, PEDro, that has been developed to give rapid access to the bibliographic detail and abstracts of the randomized control trial, systematic reviews, and as well as the evidence-based clinical practice guideline. Uh, One thing which should be remember that as we have been observed in the previous session, that much of the articles that were present only with abstract, and few of them also even don't have the abstract because of those copyright issues. But the best thing is about the Pedro that in many times and many with many evidences, they provide the links with the full text. But again, it doesn't assure you that these links will give you the free complete full text articles. It just gives that guidance that where you can find these full text of these articles. So this is the link. We can just click on that, and we will just go through that Pedro which we had discussed previously in that practical session. The helpful aspects of the Pedro, this is the when we give some key terms, some keywords in the search. So initially the systematic reviews, they will be listed first, and you have observed it well in the previous session that when we give that ACL reconstruction there, so first of all the results, they were all about the systematic reviews, and after that according to that evidence-based medicine hierarchy, the different articles that were coming in the below, such as below list. So that is a very helpful aspects and useful aspects of the Pedro, that it give the top ranked, or we can say that the strong evidence related to our keywords. As we have discussed as well in the hierarchy of the evidence, that the meta-analysis, they are on top, the systematic review, they are on the second position, and then there is the systematic, the unfiltered evidence, which include the RCTs, then the cohort studies, the case control, the case series, the crash report, the descriptive studies, and so on. So they are coming in the list below that, the RCTs. So and one study which is evidence which is much more even superior to a systematic reviews, you manage the CPGs, which are the clinical practice guidelines, which are based on the systematic reviews, as well as at having some contribution from the patient experiences, as well as the expert opinion, which are have years and years of experience of consultancy in that specific region, that specific area. So the best helpful aspects of the Pedro, that when we give some keywords, it will give us initially the systematic reviews, and then after that the different according to the hierarchy, different evidence that will be listed there. No direct full text articles they are available, but still they can give you some links where you can find out the full text articles. This is the home page of the PEDro. This is some other options, which are other services or the sub searches which we will find on the PEDro. The next is database is the Sinhal or the EBSCO host. Actually, Sinhal, this is basically made for the nursing and other allied health literature, and you can find not only the literature but different chapters and different books related to the nursing and allied health literature you can find here on the Sinhal. CINAL is that mean the cumulative index to nursing and allied health literature. Even you need a subscription from a university or the any library. So this is the link to that CINAL. This is another sources are database which where we can find some help in the clinical decision making to our patient. This is the guide to physical therapist practice. Basically this guide to physical therapy practice that is available on the official website of the American Physical Therapy Association, and this guide, this text, we can say that this book that guides the patrons of practice that improves the quality of care, and as well as they also promote the appropriate use of that healthcare services. Beside these all benefits and uses, this guide to physical therapy practice, they also explain the physical therapy practice to user, and not only to user but as well as for the policymakers as well. Uh, this is also a description of the physical therapy practice, and you can just found this guide to physical therapy practice through that official website of the APTA, which is the American Physical Therapy Association. So this provides a physical therapist with a comprehensive description of the scope of practice, details prepared practice pattern, indication for specific test and measures and intervention. And this is the reference if you want to have this and to read this guide to physical therapy practice. As you are in the last semester, and you all will you are in the 8th semester, and you all will present your proposal in the next semester. So it means you are new to the research process. So there are different stages doing the research. So these questions will be in your mind to all of you that I have never done any searching before. You where should I begin? Because this searching usually is conducted, the literature is being searched when you are going to conduct a research study, but this search should be also conducted when you have some problem, when you have some question in your mind. So to find evidence, to find answer to your question, you can search. But still, if you have never searched, so some of the questions and they will be in your mind that how I could start and how to search the literature. This is the most important question. Sometimes students, when they came into the session for that research process, so some of the students, they are even unaware of the different strategies which they can use on the PubMed, PEDro, and the Google Scholar, that how to limit or expand our search. So here the main topic today we will discuss that will be the search strategies, that how we can search, how we can expand our search, how we can limit our that review articles. So you should work through these 5 steps of an effective literature search. Working logically through these steps that will ensure your search is focused, and not only focused, that will be systematic and effective as well. These topics, these steps, which you should be have before that going towards your search, literature search. First of all, you have to describe and define and be specified your topic, that what you are going to search, what's your problem. It means you have to construct your question, as well as you have to derive some, extract some keywords and key terms from your question, which you will use for the search. Then you will choose the resource to search. A resource, these we have discussed in the previous session as well. That is the PubMed, the Sinhal, the PEDro, the Google Scholar, and other the Scikit-Info or the Sport Desk and other as well, which we have discussed previously. These all are the resources which it means that you have to choose the database. Now, if you have entered into the database, then you will use your search term, your keywords, which you will extract from your scenario, extract from your question, that will be extract from your problem. These are the main terms, the main words on which the question, the problem that is being based. After that, you are put, you have select your keywords or key terms. Then you have to compile the strategy and run the search. And this fourth step, which is the compilation of the strategy, and which strategy should be used. That is will be discussed in today, and it is one of the our main topic for today's session. And after that, you will try to find the full text. That will be a topic for another session, in which we will discuss that what are the different methods, that how we can find and where we can find the full text articles, what are the different methods, the legal methods which where we can which through which we can have the complete full text article. So these are the 5 steps, and you will notice that it is not until step 4 that you actually run your search in a database. Some people that find this surprising, but it is important that you don't miss out of the 3 elementary stages. That is defining your topic, choosing the resource, and then choosing your search terms. If you don't spend some time planning, first you will find it very frustrating and even difficult as well to retrieve material relevant to your topic. So the main topic which we will discuss here, it is the search strategies, that what different strategies we can use to make our search very specific. So efficiency in searching requires time spent learning, experimenting, and practicing. And you will practice and practice, then you will be able to search your relevant articles in a very short time. As a brief non-inclusive overview, the following slide that provides some basic information on the different strategies used for the searches. And for this searches, for this different strategies, we have used the PubMed database as a search engine, as a resource, as a database, because it is free of cost and it is also comprehensive and most commonly used among the healthcare providers. The PubMed search, the first step in searching is to form your foreground question and consider which information is most important to search. We have discussed in detail in several sessions about the construction of a very specific and answerable and relevant question. We have discussed in detail the different types of question. We have discussed the PEDro as well, that how we can construct a question from the different categories like the intervention question, the frequency question, diagnostic question, the prognostic questions, the etiological questions, and we have also used the PQ for each question from each category as well. So the initial step that will be, you have to construct your research answerable research question, and then from that you have to extract some keywords or the key terms. In the PubMed, the key terms that is best to use the mesh terms, mesh which actually stand for that medical subject heading. And why we should use the mesh vocabulary? Because in the PubMed, mesh is a comprehensive control vocabulary for that purpose of indexing the journal articles, and not only the articles, but also it can be used for the indexing different books as well. This mesh vocabulary that serve as a thesaurus of which facilitate the different students, different researchers, the researchers in their searching. And that was this mesh vocabulary that was being created, and still it is being updated and managed by the National Libraries of Medicine of the United States. This mesh was initially introduced in the 1960s, and until 2007, yearly there was available of the print version of this mesh vocabulary. But in 2007, then the printed version that was seized and discontinued, and now the mesh terminology or the mesh vocabulary that is only available online. You should also be aware of that the mesh terminology or the mesh vocabulary or the mesh terms, which is the medical subject heading, that is also used by the clinical trial that government, and they use these mesh terms to classify that which disease are studied by the trial registers in their clinical trials. So it's really better to use that mesh in your search on the PubMed, but you can search with common keywords as well. And inshallah, when we were discussing the political searching, the political session, how to search on the PubMed. So we will also explain that how we can identify different mesh terms from a simple word, and we will also discuss about that what are the different types of mesh, which are meshes actually up to four types. That is the medical subject heading. Then the other are the supplements are that qualified as the sub headings. But that will be discussed in the detail in the in some another session, inshallah. Today here we will discuss general search and the PubMed and using different strategies, which will be help in the limiting and as well as expanding our searches. So if you have too many results, try to be more specific. If too few, if you have the retrieved a very less number of articles, then you have to be very general. Then how we can be specific and how we can be general, this is we will discuss, will be discussed in the upcoming slide. This is that official website to the PubMed, and by entering a basic general term of the interest into the open field, search PubMed for that open field and then enter term there. Consider the results of your search. Was there too little or too much information? Was it relevant to what you are interested, and do any of the articles appear helpful to you? And after these answer to this question, you will decide that now I have to go in which direction. Either I have to make my search more specific, make my words more specific, or I have to make it more general if I want to have more and more retrieval of the articles. First of all, the first strategy, this is used as the truncation symbol. A question was asked by one of your class fellow, one of the student, about the wildcard. These are those wildcard which one of the wildcard is that known as the truncation symbol or the asterisk. Other wildcard which can be used other than the truncation symbol, these are the question mark as well. So these wildcard, they how we can use and what are the benefits of this. uh, Trunk, if we have written a spelling but we are unclear that what are the end two three alphabets, we are unsure about the correct spelling, so we are writing a portion of the spelling and then we are putting that steric at the end of that spelling. So all the spelling which containing that initial words, initial alphabets, will be retrieved. So when we are putting that steric at the end of some spelling, so it will retrieve where experience. For example, the term strength, if we put asterisk on the end of that strength, so this strength will also retrieve articles which are related to strength as it is present. It will also retrieve strengthening and as well as the strengthen. If we look at these two spelling, strength, this is also available here, strength, and this ENIG, that means asterisk after asterisk, that doesn't matter what other words it will be, but all those spelling which will have that strength, that will be retrieved. So this is usually very useful when you are using some biological names, specifically bacteria names which are very difficult to spell. So if we are and if we put the wrong spelling, so maybe we didn't find any good and relevant articles. So the spelling should be corrected, and if we don't know the correct spelling, we can use this truncation symbol or we can use this wildcard. As I have discussed, the wildcard, another wildcard which can use this is the question mark. Instead of that stage, you can also use that question mark. Another strategy which can be used, this is the R, and R, remember, that is used if we want to expand our retrieval of the various topic. If you have put some keywords and the searches, the retrieval articles, that is very few in number, that is very less in number. So now we have to be very general. So to make our search more expanding and to make it more general, we put the R between the different keywords, the different key terms. For example, a low back pain, when it is being added with R taping, that will return both articles, either if have been based on low back pain, even either if they are based on the taping, are those articles will also retrieved which are having both this low back pain and tapping. For example, look at here. We have this is the PNC, which is the PubMed Central. We have discussed that in detail in the previous session. That the PubMed Central, that is that database in which all the articles that will be free of cost, and you can just select by putting that down that down menu. You can select the PMC from there. So we have put the low back pain and tapping and look at the results. These are the 96,865 results. And yes, this search was being brought a few months even ago. Still, it means that this search may have more searches as compared to this number. On the other hand, if we change our strategy with and, uh, it will limit our search. If we have too much retrieval of those articles, and it's very difficult for us to find our relevant articles from that huge amount of literature, then we have to specific and we have to limit our search. So we can use the and for that purpose. The same keywords, which are the low back pain and tapping, when they are combined with the word and, that will only return articles, that only give the articles in our search results which having both low back pain and as well as tapping. It will not give the articles which have only low back pain. It will also not give those articles which are having only tapping. It will only give us those results in our search that having both the terms low back pain and tapping. So it means that will limit our search. So look at here, the same keywords when they are being added with and, the total number of articles they are 526. Look at if we go back to our previous slides, when the two words low back pain and tapping were added with R, the result were 96,865. It means this 96,000, almost 97,000, these articles having which are based on low back pain, these articles they are which are based on tapping or which are based on both low back pain and tapping. So it means if tapping is used for the shoulder region as well, those articles are also indexed here. So it means it give a very broad search. So that's why if we want to limit our search, we can use the that another strategy, that is the and look at the result. This 96,000 that have been reduced by only putting that and between the low back pain and the tapping. And look at the almost 96,000, 97,000 the articles that have been excluded just because only in putting by and instead of the r. So this is the way we can be specific, we can expand our search and we can limit our search. So that was just because of that putting the and instead of the r. So this is that story of that two terms which are search one and search two. If we have added R, so it means it will give us both. But if we have too many keywords and if we add a plus b and put r between them, and then we have c and d and e and we also put r between them, so putting these two dividing the two sets and then connecting the two sets with an r, again it will limit our search. So for example, that's blank space that is to put low back pain r. Sometimes some authors may have used as the lumbar back, a lumbar region, yeah, low back ache. Some researchers may have used low back pain, some may have used as the low back ache instead of pain. So you can use combine these two terms with R and then connect it with R with some people may have used tapping. So some other researchers may use as kinesio tapping, or some people have used only the KT, which is the kinesio tapping. So you will combine all the synonyms with the R, like the low back ache with R, the low back pain R, the LBP or the lumbar region pain or the SIJ pen if you have been considering that, and then we will close them in these parentheses, and then combine will put an R, and will combine the other synonyms in a parenthesis again, like the kinesis taping, like the sham taping, like the KT, like only taping, or the any other types of tapping which may be in your mind. So we'll combine all those. Again, it will give articles only if they're having both terms from this set and as well as from this set. So if we read this, the or means either. We join terms with or when we want to find any of them, or finds articles with one or more of our terms. So all of the blue areas in the diagram, we use or to join our synonyms for the same concept. We want to find anything that discuss either maternity care or the maternal health care. So it means if we look at these two terms, the maternity care and the maternal health care, they both give the same meaning. So you can put these two words here, the maternity care or the maternal health care. And now if we look at the another box, and mean both. If you join terms with and, you will only find items in which both the terms appear together as we discussed, and finds articles with all our terms. So only the blue area of the diagram we use and to combine our searches for different concepts. We want to find papers discussing both low back pain and the computer operators. So this is actually the strategy that we can combine these both sets with and. So it will give only those which involve any of the term from this subset and any of the terms from this set, but two terms from a single term from the both subset should be there in the articles. So all those articles will be retrieved there. So this is the actually the story of R. It will give all of them, either if it is the related to search one, the search two, or both. While here, if we are using and, it will only give us those which are combining those articles in which they are present in the combined form. The another search which is again used for the narrowing of our search, for the limiting of our search, is used as not. So searches from the items that do not contain what follow it. For example, low back pain nut tapping will only return articles that are related to low back pain only, while it will return only and will return articles related to tapping. It will be like that. So, and simple rule is that never proceed it with and. When two operators follow each other, only the first is applied. So, low back pain and nut tapping is equivalent to low back pain and tapping. And there will be no effectiveness of the nut which have put after the initial operator, which is the and. We can also use this text word when they retrieve articles with a specific word in the title or abstract. For example, if we write down this text word orthotic, so it will retrieve articles with orthotic in the title or possibly the abstract. Be careful to it might leave our articles with terms such as the FOs, which are the DAFOs, the authoses, etc. That is when mesh headings are useful. And that one of the benefits to having compensation for all these missing, mesh can help us in this circumstances, in this situation. So that will be discussed in the next session, that how to search the PubMed with the mesh. We have discussed that mesh somehow in the initial slides in the start of this session, that what the mesh, which is actually the medical subject heading. We also discussed that when that it was introduced, and in 2010 it was present in both, it was released in both the printed form inwardly as well as in the online version. But in 2007, it was being seized and discontinued in the printed version. Now it is only available in the online version. We also discussed that where the mesh are being used It is not being used in the PubMed, but also used in the clinical trial as well. And what is the purpose of using, why the mesh is using the clinical trial? The purpose is just for that, to classification and categorization of the disease, and to identification of the disease which have been studied there in the clinical trials. Uh, Actually, mesh, that is the comprehensive control vocabulary, which is used by the different researchers in the PubMed, just for the purpose of indexing different and various articles, as well as some different books as well. This mesh that serve as a very a platform, or we can say that it serve as a thesaurus, which guide and facilitate and help the researchers while they are searching different terms. These terms provide a way to search about a specific topic that may use different terminology for the same concept. So mesh database, you can search and you can find this on the PubMed page. So under the PubMed services, click on that mesh databases. So the PubMed search in clinical queries, they will be discussed in the next session. So thank you so much.